Radio. Enjoyment unlimited.
The number one hit music station.
This is Carnival Radio.
All the hits.
Enjoyment unlimited.
Good evening and welcome. This is Carnival Radio News around the world. I am Oluwadamilare Badmos. To begin the news this evening, we start from Africa. South Africa's Trade Minister Park Tews has expressed optimism that the United States African Growth and Opportunity Act will be renewed despite its expiry today. Taus's office said his recent trip to Washington showed bipartisan support in Congress for extending AGOA. The consensus in U.S. circles points to a short-term renewal of one of the 3 years to allow for adjustment to the program. Charles noted that South Africa's immediately priority is securing the extension, even if temporary. He also met U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Gerard this month to push for a reduction of the 30% tariff imposed in August on South Africa exports. Moving forward to Asia, the collapse of an Islamic boarding school in Indonesia today, Tuesday, has caused parents to search desperately for dozens of missing teenage boys feared trapped under piles of concrete. Authorities say about 90 people were listed as missing after the Al-Khalzi school in Jidrojo, East Java collapsed while pupils were holding late afternoon prayers in a mosque on the lower floor as the upper floors of the building were still under construction. 3 bodies have been recovered, while 99 children and workers hence reportedly survived the incident. Officials say most presumed victims remained under the rubble. One relative, Oli Abdullah Arif, 49, wept as he showed a photo of his missing nephew, Rusi, describing his fantastic effort to locate him in the ruins. Moving forward to Europe, Spain's government has introduced a draft law that would create a new crime of gender-based violence when abusers harm someone close to their victims, such as a child, parent, or pet, in order to inflict greater suffering. The proposal unveiled on Tuesday seeks to formally recognize so-called vicarious violence carried out to intimidate, control, punish, or seek revenge. Officials said the measure aims to address a gap in existing legal protections. Equality Minister Anna Redrondo described the move as essential to protecting victims and raising awareness of what she called radical, savage, inconceivable violence. The center-left government has made women's rights a center policy focus with reforms on sexual consent, expanded victim support, and initiative to close gender pay gaps. If approved, Spain would join countries like Mexico, which passed similar legislation in 2023, in strengthening protections against indirect gender gender-based violence. In South America, Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro has signed a decree granting him additional powers to mobilize the military in the event of a U.S. incursion. Vice President Darcy Rodriguez has announced the decree authorizes the armed forces to take control of public services and the oil industry for a renewable 90-day period under the nation's constitution. Tensions with Washington have risen as the U.S. deployed warship to the Caribbean, citing drug trafficking, and carried out strike on boats allegedly linked to Venezuela. Maduro dismissed the accusations and privately sought direct talks with U.S. President Donald Trump earlier this month. Meanwhile, Venezuela troops have conducted training exercise with civilian military to prepare for what officials describe as a possible U.S. attack. In North America, more than 150,000 federal employees are leaving the U.S. government payroll this week, marking the largest single-year exit of civil servants in nearly 8 decades. The departure followed a buyout program that combined financial incentive with threats of dismissal under President Donald Trump's drive to shrink the federal workforce. Resignation officially begin today, Tuesday, though many had already stopped working months ago while remaining on paid leave, according to the government HR office. Unions and experts warn the mass exit risk eroding institutional memory at federal agencies. Don Mayan of the University of Michigan said the loss of experienced staff amounts to a brain drain that will be difficult to reverse. In Australia, Australian home prices have risen at the fastest pace in a year. In September, property consultant Quartality report national price climbed 0.8%, 0.8%, a record median of 857,280 Australian dollars, the strongest monthly rise since October 2023. Quarterly growth stood at 2.2%, up from 1.5% in the previous quarter. Barbarism led the surge with 1.2% jump, while Perth recorded 1.6%, Sydney added 0.8%, and Melbourne grew 0.5%. Quartality attributed the gains to recent rate cuts and record low property listings, boosting buyer competition. And with that, we've come to the end of the world news this evening. You can check out our website at www.carnivalmedia.ng. You can also download the Carnival Media app on Google Play Store and the iOS App Store. And it remains Oluwadami Larry Badmos. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good evening.